Where y'all going to school?
I'm at ASU right now.
Oh yeah? Which campus?
I'm supposed to be down to the meeting, but I'm taking classes close to home, so I'm more essentially home.
Okay, I'm not far. I'm going to college.
Oh, really nice.
What's your major?
I do medical science.
Okay. Like biology. What about yourself? Any? How's the environment? Nice environment. And
So you like the quiet?
yeah, because it doesn't. It's just, I don't know. It's not. Yeah. That's why I was hoping there's one out there. It's like, it's like that. That's awesome. Yeah. No, I'm wrong now. We're transferring, so I'm like,
Sorry. I have all these papers, and I'm taking them.
Test, 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 test. Okay, I think we'll get started. Welcome. Good afternoon, good evening. Thank you for coming. Welcome to NAU PA program. I'm Elias Villarreal. I'm the program director, department chair for the PA program. I've been here for a little over a year now at the NAU PA program, so I'm happy to meet all of you. This isn't my first rodeo though. This is definitely my second open house here at NAU, and probably my, 50th open house in PA education altogether. Been at it a long time. So welcome to everybody. It's really good to meet everyone. We've got a lot to cover in our session. So disclosure, we're going definitely over 6:30. I think that we have a lot more to offer you if you're really interested in PA than do the other sessions right after this, because the other sessions that are after this, they may not be actually specifically talking about those things in the context of PA, because we're very specific on what we like for letters of reference and interviews and things like that, which we will be talking about somewhat today. So just to let you know, we'll probably take up that time instead to use it here, and also to answer your questions. So I want to first start off with just to let you know who's who in the room. So obviously I'm faculty, but we've got other faculty here as well. So faculty, if you could stand, please. Yes, so we have Dr. Mary Lou Brubaker, who is our pharmacologist as well. In the house, we've got Amber Brooks Gumbert, who is one of our newer faculty in the house as well, and teaches on a didactic side as well. And we have Jennifer Fierstein, our academic coordinator extraordinaire with us today. We also have some staff with us today. So we have in the back Stephanie Fox, I see back there. She is our clinical placement coordinator who handles most everything clinical year, so she can answer questions later about clinical year items. And then I don't see Kay anymore, she'll probably be back, but Kay Look, you may have met. Kay Look is our senior program coordinator, basically, who is my right hand in the department, and she is the chief executive for the staff in our department. So that's a little bit about who we are. So I don't know that there are any students in attendance right here, but you definitely met some of our students out in the lobby. We had mostly first-year students. That means that they're here on campus. And I think I saw a couple of second-year students out there as well who are now out on clinical rotation. So that's a little bit about who's here. Okay, so the audience. So how many of you in here, show of hands, are from the state of Arizona? All right, pretty much everyone. Anybody here from out of state, neighboring states? Just moved to Arizona? Okay, one person. All right, great. And how about schools? ASU folks. Okay, that's always our main pipeline, all right? U of A, down in Tucson, great. NAU, Awesome, good to have you guys. You guys are representing this year for the first year, so I'm glad you were able to come down from Flagstaff, down from the mountain. So welcome everyone. How about other schools around us? Just yell them out. GCU, excellent. All right, we got GCU in the house too, over on Camelback on the other side of I-17. So welcome also GCU. Any local community colleges? Anybody from there? All right. So welcome to everyone. Anybody, now show of hands, who's applying this year? Like literally you already turned in your application. Okay, not too many. The rest of you are applying next year? Show of hands. The following year after that? Okay, great. We've got information for all three sets of you, okay? So definitely going to get you updated. And then anybody that's international, like you have your degree from a foreign country. Your bachelor's degree is foreign or you're a foreign medical graduate. Anyone in here? Okay, great. We've got one person. Great, welcome. So we may have some things here for you as well. Also some updates for you that are also quite important. So great. So we do want to make sure that we provide you with all of the latest and greatest news and updates. We're actually rolling out two very big changes to our program that affects both applicants and future students. We're rolling that out today, so you are the first people to actually hear about this outside of our department. Not even our current students in our program have heard about these things you're going to hear about today. So you truly are at an advantage today. Hearing these things will now roll out publicly very soon. You have a handout with you. Anybody does not have a handout that needs it? Raise your hand. We need a couple of handouts, guys. 3 handouts I see over here on this side of the room. So they'll get you that. If you need a raffle ticket too, we're giving out door prizes toward the end. So if you need a little raffle ticket, also make sure that you ask some of the staff about that. So we're going to review the PA curriculum as well because we have some significant changes to the clinical year curriculum that we're going to discuss. We'll also discuss the admissions process and the requirements and all that. We've changed a little bit in our requirements as well for next year's applicants. And then we'll, of course, answer any and all of the questions that you have to the best of our ability. And you've got the person who I think can answer the best, being that I am the director. So personnel, just some news and things. So during the last year and a half or two, we have had some change around in faculty and staff, and I'm happy to report that we are now full. We have no vacancies in our department. Our entire faculty is full, every position is taken, and that also applies to staff. We have all of our staff hired up and working, and we are a very happy team these days with everyone on board and able to do their duties without having to do duties for other people that aren't employed here. So real happy to report that those things are now a thing of the past. Admissions. So where are we with admissions right now? For those of you who are applying, I think there was just a handful of you who are applying this year. Currently, we're in the 2018-19 cycle currently. The deadline to apply was on September 1st, as it is every year. We are currently still reviewing applications for minimum requirements. About half of those applications that have already been reviewed have moved on to the second part of review, which is a PA faculty review after a minimum requirement check. We will be assigning interviews or invitations for interviews very soon. We expect to start the interviewing process at the very end of October and early November and go through about the middle of December or maybe even just the first week of December. So our goal is to make decisions about the next incoming class by, or at least before the Christmas holidays. So that is our goal so that everyone has a good opportunity to make a good decision, especially if they got into several programs. So that's where we're at currently with our current cycle right now. Our next cycle, for those of you planning to apply for next year's class, our next cycle starts in April again, and that would be the 2019-2020 cycle. That would be for the incoming class of 2022. We are currently interviewing and entertaining applications for the graduating class of 2021. It's weird how we have to talk about it so many years in advance, but that's how we work in PA education. Update on our website. So our website is still the same as it's always been. Over the past 6 months to 1 year, all of NAU has been working on updating most of its web presence, and a lot has been done already on the NAU website, if you've seen. Our program is still, has the old look to it with old logos and whatnot. Our department stuff has moved past the point of being able to adjust anything, so we have an impending rollout of our website anytime now. So they can't tell us exactly when, but we're being told probably before the end of the semester, our website will be up and running and brand new. So we're real excited to have a new look on there. However, all the web addresses and links and all of the policies and everything else should be the same as you've always seen it. They carbon copied everything over, except the difference is that it has a different look and feel to the way that the website works. So we're excited about that, so keep your eyes open for the website. When it does change, some of your browsers may not change automatically, because the way browsers work is they keep the history of the website that you've gone to. So every once in a while, when you go to our website, hit the refresh on the top after you landed there to make sure that your browser does get the latest information, because otherwise your browser may just be going back to the same saved website that it's had for a while. So keep abreast of that. So the first thing to talk about in our talk about updates today is the curriculum. And what does our curriculum look like and how has it changed moving forward? So the NAU PA program is a little different than most PA programs. Around 30% of PA programs in the country out of 236 programs, around 30% of those are what we call 24-month programs. There are not very many of us out there anymore. Most programs, on average, are either 27 or 28 months, and then another 30% are going to be 33 months or above 28 months. We are lucky enough that we are a 24-month program here, meaning that we are a solid, even 12 months and then 12 months again, with no overlap of classes, and we really like that here at NAU. We do have that luxury of doing that. However, it does come with some consequences for students in that there is a requirement for students not to have as much time off during that time, so they do get very little vacation time. Our students get anywhere from 4 to 6 weeks vacation altogether for the entire year, per year that they're in PA school. So it's almost like having a job, but you tell me which job you find that doesn't have, that has more than 2 weeks vacation per year. It's really kind of rare. So that's a little bit about our year. So we have a didactic year and a clinical year. So the didactic year is all here on campus here in this actual room that you're in, is where we teach most, if not all, of our PA courses. That goes on for 12 solid months. So it's going to be 3 solid semesters. So there's a fall semester, which we're currently in, spring semester, and then the summer semester starts in early to middle of May and goes through about the beginning of August, almost the middle of August for the summer semester. Our long semesters, fall and spring, are 16 weeks in length, typically, either 15 or 16, depending on the calendar. And our summer semester is 12 weeks in length, so it is a little bit more crunched in. Our current clinical year, this is what it looks like. Currently, we have a 3-semester scheme, so it's fall, spring, and summer as well. Currently, we offer 11 clinical rotations to our students. Those include 7 core rotations that all students get, 2 primary care selectives. Those are rotations that are geared towards just primary care. And then we have 2 elective rotations. So that's what the current students are experiencing. Every single student in here, or every single person in here who applies to this program will not experience what we have currently now. Our newest proposal that we just actually approved this past week locally in our department is to move to what we have here for beginning class of 2021, which is anyone applying right now or in the future. And that is, we're still going to be 3 semesters. We're still going to offer the same amount of contact hours, meaning that we're still going to require students to be out pretty much 8 to 5, Monday through Friday, including weekends, doing clinical rotations. But now it's going to be 7 core clinical rotations and 1 elective. So we're eliminating 3 clinical rotations. The way that we're accommodating that is that we're increasing the number of credit hours for some of the courses to give more time in certain areas that we feel are more important for students, especially to focus on primary care. So that is going to be coming very soon. We are right now in the process of getting that approved through the university. And then we still will, so all of that is off campus time. We will have 8 visits. So currently students come back to campus 11 times. So after every time they finish a clinical rotation, which is 11, they come at the end for one full day, like a full Friday, and we do courses in here, sessions, seminars, guest speakers, and whatnot. We also do an examination, which is an EOR. An EOR is an end of rotation examination. Those occur also every Friday after students finish a clinical rotation. That's all changing from 11 to 8 times instead, obviously, because it's at the end of a clinical rotation. So that will be happening and moving forward later. So this is what the fall semester looks like here at NAU for our PA students. So when they get started in August, they start with a 19 credit course load. Anyone in here have taken 19 credits in undergrad? Raise your hand. A couple of you, okay? Thanks, Mary Lou. So a couple of you have, okay? Not very many of you have, okay? 19 credits, and just think about how you felt those semesters when you were taking 19 credits. It's tough, okay? And so that's actually the bare minimum here at NAU. That's where we start with 19 credits. So it's a lot of information, it's a lot of coursework. You're in class pretty much all the time. There is really no ability to work or do anything. This is not a part-time program. We don't offer ability to take breaks or to take semesters off. You can't select your courses. It's completely different from undergrad. It's a cohort system where we tell you, this is what you're taking, and you take it in this sequence, in this order, every semester until you graduate, and you move along with your same classmates and graduate with them 2 years later. So, foundations of clinical practice, history taking, ethics and professionalism, physiology, diagnostic medicine. These are all sort of typical courses that we see in PA curricula. The stars are indicated by those courses that are taught for us or with us through the University of Arizona College of Medicine here in this building as well, who we share that with, so we have a collaboration with them. Their faculty actually come in here in this room and teach those courses. Our faculty are assigned to make sure that the testing and assessment process goes well, that we assign grades, and also we do have our own faculty that manage most of the logistical issues with courses, but the actual course is taught by the U of A, and that's one, I think, that one of the perks that we have to our program that others do not, is that we have such a wonderful medical school helping us teach these courses that we have available. So, so that's the fall. Spring semester, we up it up a notch. So one more credit hour we added. 19 wasn't enough, we add another one for 20 credits, okay? This is where really the rubber starts to hit the road, okay? So it's, if the fall wasn't hard enough, the spring gets a little bit tougher. If anything, it's because there's more information. Students tend to report that maybe it's not as difficult, but it's because they're already used to the study process, and the fall kind of prepared them for making sure they don't get behind and doing all of their coursework. But it is quite a load of coursework. We only have one course with the U of A medical school during the spring semester. Everything else is, like I said, bread and butter type PA curriculum courses that we offer here that are incidentally required for us to teach by our accreditors. The summer, although it looks like it's less because it's 16 credits, remember it's 16 credits in a 12 semester, in a 12-week period. So if you've ever taken summer school, you know it goes by a lot quicker. In undergrad, it means that you're in class every single day for every single course. For us, that's really true for almost all of the year, but especially for the summer. Students are really busy in the summer. We have one course that we're actually changing out of sequence. If you look online right now, there's a course called Introduction to Clinical Practice. That is going to change to a course in the summer. It's already been changed, but this is definitely something that will affect everyone coming through, that course is just not, it's not a fall course anymore, it's a summer course. And it goes for a full 12 weeks as opposed to just a 3-week period, which is what the tradition here was at NAU. It's in italics because that title is not official, but it, you know, it could be proposed and may happen. So that's what the summer looks like. Once all of these courses are done, so 19 credits, then 20, then 16, then students are ready to move on to this. And this is the new curriculum. So this is not what's being done right now on the current degree plan. This is the degree plan for class of 2021 moving forward. This is where we include the different courses. So you'll see the ones with the X's are the courses that are pretty much new. So what's changed from what we were doing before is all of our courses were 4 credits before. Now we have 3 courses that are going to be 8 credits, meaning we're doubling the time that students are going to be spending at those rotations. So they're going to be going for 8 weeks in family medicine, 8 weeks internal medicine, and 8 weeks in pediatrics, which really are the primary care essential rotations. We're really focusing in on them. So we took those primary care selective 2 rotations that we had and gave those hours to those particular courses, and then we removed 1 elective and added it there as well. Because we do feel that students need to be very well prepared to be able to pass the PANCE exam, which is a certification exam for PAs, to be able to practice and get licensed. And we also feel that this is in the best interest of every student. The top 2 courses there are courses that go on year-round, that involve students doing a capstone project and taking a final exam before they graduate, and then also there are presentations and things and other seminars and things that we do. The seminar course is the course that basically engages students every Friday that they come back to campus. That's the course that says you have to come back to campus or you don't get a grade for this course. So that's the way that works. Any questions about the curriculum before I move on? All right, so the good stuff that I think probably everybody wants to know. So admissions, what's new? What's cooking with admissions? So we changed our minimum requirements just slightly. So the minimum requirements look probably almost the same as they did before to you. If you look online, they look very similar, but there are some very subtle changes that I'm going to describe. So you've got to submit your CASPA and your NAU applications by September 1st. No change there, okay? We have to make sure that your CASPA application is verified no later than December 1st. What does that mean? So you turn it in, you did everything you needed to do with CASPA to hit that submit button before September 1st. Remember that CASPA, once they get your application, they have to actually process your application before they send it to us. So they're going to make sure that they received your official transcripts. They're going to make sure that they received your 3 letters of recommendation, and then anything else, your GRE scores as well. Once they receive all of those things, then they're going to open up your transcripts and make sure that they verify that what you stated, grade that you had in English and chemistry and biology, that all those grades are the same grades that are on your official transcripts. So that takes them a little while. It takes them anywhere from 2 weeks to 30 days at the most. The average during the month of September is about a 30-day wait period. They do hire more people at CASPA during August, September, October, because it's the busiest time of year for them to push these things out. So they tend to have about a 2-week lag period in October and September. Moving closer, like in the summer, if you apply in the summer, it may be more like 30 days before they verify your application and send it to us. The PA programs cannot look at your application until it's been verified. So it's really important for them to do that. For whatever reason, sometimes they don't get to it very quickly, and I'm going to tell you that usually when they don't verify your application in the 30-day average wait period, it's almost always exclusively because the applicant didn't do something. So they didn't turn something in, they didn't bother to go back in the system and check, what am I missing, what's my progress? So we get a lot of these emails here in our department like, hey, what's the process, what's going on, why isn't my CASPA application being processed, why haven't you received it? And all we can tell you is, we don't know, okay? Because until it says verified, we have no access to that. So you've got to make sure that you log into the CASPA system on a weekly basis to see where it's at, to see what you can see literally on there on your screen. It'll tell you what they've received, what they haven't received. You know, letters of reference are the most notorious to cause problems. So if it doesn't say they received it, if there's no little checkbox by it, it means they didn't get it. You might want to consider somebody else in the interim, or get another letter of reference that's somebody different to do it for you, or call your current referees and let them know that they need to turn it in sooner than later, because all of that has to be in by September 1st. All applicants must be U.S. citizens or permanent residents of the United States. That hasn't changed. That's the same requirement that NAU has always had. A minimum of an earned bachelor's degree or higher ed degree from a United States regionally accredited institution or its equivalent. And there's an asterisk there if you have a degree from a foreign country, which I'll discuss on the next slide. Overall in science scores, GPA of 3.0 or higher. And this is going to be a GPA calculated by CASPA. It's not the calculation you make. It's not the calculation that is at the end of your transcript, okay? A lot of people have a misconception about that your GPA is the one that it says at the end of, like you went to say ASU. And at the end of your ASU GPA transcript, it says your GPA is a 3.0, okay? But you also went to Maricopa College, Community College, you also took courses at GCU, you also took one course at U of A, maybe you were in a community college for 2 years before. All of that coursework you have to turn in to CASPA as well, and they make a GPA based on all of the courses that you submit, okay? Also, a lot of undergraduate institutions replace grades in GPA, so if you got an F in chemistry, and you take it again and you got an A, and then your GPA is a 4.0. Wow, great, but there's an F there. Well, in CASPA, they don't neglect your F. Your F is calculated into the GPA as well as the A that you got the second time. So there is no forgiveness of courses with CASPA. There's also no forgiveness in graduate school either. So once you get in the BA program, you can't ever replace grades. Your earned grade stays your earned grade forever. So I like to think of transcripts as credit reports, okay? Except the problem is a credit report blanks out after how many years? Around 7 years, right? Your bankruptcy is like 11, 13 years. But after 7 years, you kind of get a fresh start with your credit. You never get a fresh start with transcripts, okay? Unless you request a fresh start. So like if you have really bad grades, like you have like a 1.2 GPA, and you decide you want to do college all over again from the beginning like you never did it, most schools have fresh start policies where you can do that and start from the very beginning. The only problem with fresh start is you can't ever use any of the courses from your beginning toward your new degree or toward applying to PA school or med school or whatever. So just so you know, if you're interested in that and you know you have a really bad GPA, like below 1.0 or severely below 2.0, you might want to look into fresh starts and seeing if that is an option for you to do. Most fresh starts do not allow you to get financial aid that you have to pay out of pocket. So something to think about when it comes to that. So a lot of people don't know that about the GPAs, okay? The other thing that the GPAs look into is that if you took graduate coursework, so if you've taken master's courses or doctoral courses, also in addition to your bachelor's degree, those are also calculated into these overall GPAs as well. So all of this stuff is going to be cumulative. It's not just a GPA for this one moment in time. CASPA does, and we require as well, that you submit all official transcripts from all institutions you've attended. Another misconception. Well, I attended these 5 places, but I transferred all that coursework to ASU. It's all of my ASU transcripts, so you should have it. You're going to get rejected, for sure. Okay, and not by us. Well, you'll get rejected by us too, but you're going to get rejected by CASPA as well. Because CASPA will ask you, what are all the institutions that you've attended, and you have to be truthful and honest. Because when they get your transcript from ASU and it has 3 institutions that you transferred coursework in, they're going to put your transcript on hold, and these are going to be the ones that are going to not be verified for more than 30 days. Because they're not going to tell you. They're just going to put it hold, and they're not going to tell you why. It's up to you to log in and say, hey, I'm on hold. Why am I on hold? You call, and then they're going to tell you, yeah, you're on hold because you attended 3 other universities and you didn't send us official transcripts. So you've got to update those. You've got to get them sent in. And then they'll release it once they verify those transcripts as well. So that's something also that sometimes students think, oh, well, it's all on one transcript. That's all you need. It's actually not. And then once you come to NAU, when you do your NAU application, you do have to turn in at least unofficial transcripts from all the different places that you've been, although they're not as picky. CASPA is really, really picky with that. You have to complete prerequisite courses from a U.S. regionally accredited institution, so every single prerequisite. If you are a foreign student who took courses outside the United States, unless it's an American recognized school, your prereqs all 40 credits have to be from a U.S. regionally accredited institution. Otherwise, you have to take whichever prereqs you have from out of the country, you have to take them in the U.S. Let's see, a minimum of 500 hours of healthcare experience is required. Both volunteer and paid experiences are acceptable. Here's the one subtle change to what we have from previous. Everything else hasn't changed much. Here we have a direct change. So right now, if you get on our website, what does it say? Many of you know it really well. Health Path students? What does it say? It says direct patient care right now, which means you've got to be directly related to and working with patients one-on-one, face-to-face, right? So, you know, if all you do, let's say if you're a hospital volunteer and you work at the front desk, that is not direct patient care activity or experience. What we have decided in the PA program is that we do appreciate volunteering a lot, especially in institutions where you can get some of this type of experience. So we've removed the words direct patient care, and we're just calling it in general healthcare experience. And there's many ways we can define healthcare experience. I'm not going to go into all of the details for that. But let's just say I think it's a little more broad and a little bit more forgiving for people who are applying, because we do realize that getting that direct patient care experience face-to-face with patients is really difficult to get, especially if you're in college full-time and don't have a lot of time to become a nurse or a paramedic or an EMT or, you know, one of these typical professions where you can get lots of hands-on patient care experience. So that's being changed for this next cohort of applicants, so we feel that that's going to be a really good change. We didn't change the amount of hours, we're still requiring 500. And you know what, it's not 2,000 like many of the other programs require, so we feel that 500 is really enough to get yourself an understanding of what healthcare is like and what the dynamic is between patient and provider. That's really what the purpose of your healthcare experience should be, is do you know what it's like for someone to see a patient on a provider-patient relationship basis. Let's see, so the next thing here is submission of the GRE scores. So here's another little subtle difference. We've always required the GRE, that's not new. What is new is we're now publishing a score, okay? The recommended score at this time is going to be 284 composite. That includes verbal and quantitative sections, and that's what we're calling competitive. We're not saying that it's a minimum requirement, so that if you have a 250, please still apply, okay? Don't let that keep you from applying. We're just saying, based on our numbers and the years of experience that we have looking at GRE scores, 284 is about average and is about what we would expect. In fact, 284 is actually a little low. So it is actually a little bit forgiving. Some other schools are looking for numbers way above that, okay? So for now, I would say don't let that discourage you, but that's what you should be looking at as far as your numbers are. It's got to be submitted to CASPA. That's the only way we take your GRE scores. Another misconception, well, I turned them into NAU. Our instructions have always said, do not turn them into NAU. They say turn them into CASPA. So, and I can tell you, I know some people that were not accepted into this program that were very good candidates because they didn't turn in their GRE scores to the right place. Okay, so we're real serious. When we have 3,000 applicants, we can afford to be picky about our policies, and we can afford to be very strict about how we apply those policies and ensure that, you know what, if you didn't follow directions, there's a real good chance that if we accept you as a PA student, you're not going to follow directions here either. And we don't want students who don't follow directions. Am I right, faculty? I'm totally right. Yeah, they're nodding their head back there. We want people who can follow directions and instructions. And so this is really the first test for every future PA student as far as doing that. 3 letters of reference or recommendation is also required. Again, these are CASPA submissions. I think those are very common. I think the most common question I get here is, can people submit a written letter or a typed letter or whatever, and can I give it to you and bring it in the day of my interview? The answer to that is no. It's all done only electronically. CASPA used to do both. They used to do electronic and written submissions, so they would, you know, accept uploads, or they would accept something in the mail, and then they would scan and upload. They don't accept that anymore. It has to be somebody that does this electronically. So what I recommend to you is anybody that you ask to do a letter of reference for you, if it's somebody who takes 2 weeks to answer your email, probably not a good person to ask, okay? You want somebody that's very responsive, like responds to your emails typically within like 72 hours. I'd say that's a good rule of thumb. If you've got somebody who's referring you, doing a referral for you in that amount of time, that would be great. Because what happens is they receive an email. When you enter their data, their name and their email address, they receive an email on their end with a password and a web link that is specific only to them with that email address. They go in there, use that password, type it in, and then they fill out the reference for you and then submit it, okay? So if you're asking somebody who's like super uber busy, never has time to do very much, again, utilize somebody on your letters of reference that really can make a good assessment of your academic skills, of your work ethic, of who you are as a person. We really typically don't like to see them from family members, okay, or your best friend, or your husband or your wife. Although, let me tell you, I have seen some letters of reference from husbands and wives that are not very happy about their husband or wife, okay? And they turn these in, and it's almost like they're trying to sabotage their significant other, so that they don't get in the program by submitting a really awful letter of reference. So sometimes that happens as well, but you want to keep these professional and somebody you have a professional relationship with. I would say if I had to choose my letters, if I was a PA applicant and listen up real carefully, I would say a professor would be great. So a professor that you actually know, that actually you spend time in their office hours and you love their class, you did well in their class incidentally. Don't pick the professor you got to see in their course, that's not going to be a very good letter, okay? But also somebody who knows you, because we see from professors a lot of generic letters that we get that just really don't say anything about you except what they say about everyone else. In fact, some of them come in and they'll have like literally the spaces where we can see that all they did was plug in your name. Those are not very good letters. So someone you've developed a good relationship with on a faculty level, then maybe a letter from a supervisor or a boss at your work, okay, who can tell us a little bit about your work ethic and what you're like as far as accepting criticism, incorporating criticism, what you're like professionally. We really like to know those things. And then the other could be pretty much anyone. It could be a personal reference. And it could be a friend who maybe a friend from work or a colleague or something like that as well. Those are all some really good references. So what are my recommendations for references at this time? I would just say stay away from your family. And some people, yes, even if your father or mother is a doctor or whatever, it really doesn't look any better to submit the letter just because they have that profession. Honestly, I'm going to tell you also, it doesn't impress anybody that I know that you turned in a letter from a doctor. It's just another letter. Okay, what I like to do is read the letter and how well does this person know you. So I think trying to do name dropping and connections and like that doesn't really work in PA education like at all, because most PA educators don't even know these people who you're thinking you're name dropping with. I mean, okay, so if it's the governor of the state, I mean obviously we all know the governor, right? But other than that, it's just like if you're trying to do that with your letters of recommendation, I would say that's not in your best interest. Go with someone who really can offer you a valid and truthful letter for you. So this was the asterisk on the minimum requirements for those people who have a foreign degree. So we need the transcripts from a foreign country. We need those translated to English and then also transcribed and changed over into the American system. And there are some agencies we use for that. We also require, again, that all the courses be completed in a U.S. institution. And then finally, we need proficiency on TOEFL for English language. And those numbers are actually, again, quite forgiving. They're not very high for the TOEFL. So, we do ask that you have at least some English knowledge. We do publish preference factors. This is on our website as well already. And so that has not changed, and we're not predicting changing this at all. We are what we call a mission-based program here at NAU. So one of the things that we do as a public institution of the state of Arizona and part of the Arizona Board of Regents is that we are focused first and foremost on this state, okay? Does that mean you have to be from Arizona to get accepted and to have better chances? That's not what it says. It says we're looking for that Arizona connection. So if you're from here, born here, went to school here, never been anywhere else but Arizona, great, you got that covered, okay? If you're not, that's okay. Maybe you've been here for a while, or maybe you're planning to be here for a longer while, and this is like your new home. So we're looking for that connection for our Arizonans. We're also looking for people who are willing to work out in the rural areas. We send our students second year, clinical year, all over the state. And I'm talking as far as Yuma, Page, Grand Canyon, Havasu, Kingman, Sierra Vista, Tucson, Nogales. I mean, we have rotations everywhere. And I'm serious when I tell you, we send you to the top of every mountain, okay, and the end of every desert. I mean, we're everywhere in this state, and that can't be said by the other PA programs here, which is why we say we're very mission-based. We're also in most of the reservations as well with rotations for those students that actually can take advantage of those with American Indian Heritage. So we're real proud of all of those accomplishments, and so we really focus on making sure that our students are going to focus on Arizona, because our job is to ensure that our graduates hopefully stay in the state to practice. Our latest data, you got a flyer out there from the NCCPA. You can see there that 80% of our graduates are where? Arizona, they're staying here. So we feel like we are doing our job as a mission-based program, that we have the majority of our graduates since 2013 are staying to practice in the state. That is our goal as a public institution, and we're very open and vocal about it because we need to be. The other two PA programs in town are private schools that are not Arizona focused. They don't need to be Arizona focused. So they may have some initiatives where they do have some focus on community centers and they're focused on primary care and similar things to us, but they don't have to focus on Arizona like we do because we're public. So we're real happy about that. So basically this statement is telling you that because of our mission, because of the way that we select students, we're also very interested in students from disadvantaged backgrounds. So students, and disadvantage can mean anything. And there's typically educational and also environmental disadvantage. Those definitions are both in the CASPA system. So we ask that when you get to those questions in the CASPA system, here's another misconception. I'm not going to answer these because it's going to affect me negatively. Okay, like I'm going to have less chance of getting in if I say that I'm an underrepresented minority. If I say I'm Mexican, it's going to work against me. If I say I'm Asian, they're not going to accept me. If I say that that I'm low socioeconomic level, like I'm in a poverty level, then they're not going to accept me. That is totally untrue. Okay, that's not how that data is used. In fact, we use it to get a lot of grants for scholarships at this program. At least we have in the past. And so it makes a lot of sense for us to collect that data. But also, we're looking at students who may have had a lot of adversity in their life for whatever reason, because maybe they live in a super rural area of the state. And so there are not a lot of resources for students who come from rural areas in terms of, great courses, great universities, great this, great that, and the other. Just the resources are just not as accessible in some locations. And so we pride ourselves in looking at every student. And so that also means that not every student we accept is a 4.0 student, okay? So we look at everyone with a 3.0 or higher, okay? Everyone gets a fair shot in our holistic process of admissions. We look at every application. If you meet the minimum requirements, you're moving on to the next level of looking at that. And we don't just go on GPAs. I can't say that about other PA programs in this country, but I can say that here at NAU, we don't focus on just the GPA like all the 4.0s get in. In fact, I don't know that there are very many 4.0 students in our current cohort, or even the previous one. Maybe very close, but not very many. We do have some students that are down even in the 3.1 range. We do not have anybody below 3.0. We do not accept anybody in this program who has a cumulative GPA of 3.0 or a science GPA of less than 3.0. We just cannot do it. That's a minimum requirement. So you'll have to do something on your end to make your GPAs look better, or you may have to consider a different PA program that will accept you. The vast majority of PA programs, however, do not accept students below a 3.0 at all. So it's just the nature of the profession. Like I said, there are a ton of applicants. This is the #1 and #2 profession by US News and World Report, and also Forbes, and also Bloomberg, and I mean, you name the ranking organization, they're all listing NP and PA right at the top. They're either #1 or #2. There are a lot of people that want to be advanced practice providers these days, so you're faced with a lot of competition. In Arizona, there are only 3 programs. There are almost 20 programs in California. So the competition is a lot different in California than it is here, because people who are from Arizona want to stay in Arizona. So therefore, you're going to be competing. We had 3,000 this year. Midwestern probably has double of ours, or right around a little bit above ours. AT still has probably about the same amount. So you're looking at around 10 to 12,000 applications that you're going up against in this state alone. So it's pretty competitive. There are, Yeah, there are no really other options. So it's something for you to consider. If your GPA is your problem, you need to think seriously about how can you get that GPA to improve above the level where you'll be considered. So that's definitely something to think about. Other than that, we look at everything else. So we're looking at the whole package that you're presenting to us. The more real you are, you present yourself in CASPA, the more likely that you will be able to get accepted. So make sure that you give us as much information about you in there. In that experience section, build it up with all of your experiences, your jobs that you've had. You know, you were a barista at Starbucks, put it in there, that's important. I like to see that myself, okay? That's customer service, okay? Our profession is all about customer service. We are in a customer service industry these days, as well as healthcare. So, you know, those kinds of skills are gonna come in handy. I was a wait staff somewhere, you know, that's also very, very good. So don't think that just because you were not an EMT or you weren't a paramedic or you weren't a scribe like everyone else is, then you're at some disadvantage somehow. In fact, some of these professions at this point aren't really unique because everyone has that profession now, so it doesn't really set them apart. In fact, you may actually be the person that's set apart because you're unique, you're not a scribe or you're not an EMT, so you're a little different from everyone else. And there's nothing wrong with being a scribe or an EMT, it's perfectly good experience, it's just not unique anymore because so many people do it. Suggested experiences, things you should consider to be a great applicant. Make sure that you look into at least the American Academy of PAs. That shouldn't say, that still says Texas. I'm still stuck in Texas a year and a half later. That should say ASAPA, so the Arizona State Association of PAs. And I'm a board member, I should know, I should change that as soon as possible. So pre-PA organizations at your institutions, we present at ASU all the time, so we know them. I know U of A has one as well, and GCU too. So if your institution has a pre-PA organization, make sure you get involved with them. Take as many additional science courses as you can. The courses that are on our prereq list are just a jumping off point. They're just to get you started. So they don't set you apart. Everyone here has to have those. So if you want to look a little different, a little better, take more advanced science courses so that you can show that you've been successful at those and that you've got a lot of science acumen behind you. Shadowing, if you can get shadowing, we do not require PA shadowing. I gotta say that word 3 times. We do not require PA shadowing. Don't let anybody scare you into thinking we do. Don't let any other applicant who's trying to be cutthroat and get you out of the competition from them, because I know PA and med, pre-PA and pre-med is very cutthroat with applicants. Okay, they'll tell you anything to dissuade you and to make you feel inferior. And like an imposter. And so don't fear that. We don't require it. Do I think it's helpful? I do. So that if you can get PA shadowing, I think it does make a difference in your knowledge and ability to answer some of the questions that we'll ask you in an interview. So I would suggest that if you can do some PA shadowing directly, that you do that. Is it beneficial to have thousands of hours of PA shadowing? It doesn't make one bit of difference for me. For me, if you shadow a PA for a few hours, 40 hours or whatever, I think you got it. You saw a PA, you know what they do, you get it, okay? And that, for me, that's it. If you're there for thousands of hours, I don't know, maybe it's volunteer experience, or I think you could use your time probably better, doing more advanced science coursework or other types of volunteering or whatever. If it's part of your volunteering experience, great, then you're actually double dipping and getting it at the same time. Volunteer work, community service. Again, make yourself look human, okay? So tell us all the other things that you like to do. You're really active in your church. You're really active at a community center. You teach volleyball. You're a lifeguard. You're, you read to kids on Sundays. You're a dog walker. Whatever it is, include that in there because it makes you interested. And it sets you apart from others. And it's not just an application that we're reading. So we do like to see those things. So applying, so CASPA application due September 1st every year, as is the NAU application. Notice the difference here. So you've got to send all your official transcripts to CASPA. You must do that, okay? And they've got to be official, meaning you order it at the institution and they send it directly by mail or electronically to CASPA. You never lay your hands on it, okay, at all. That's required. Also, and keep in mind of this, we already talked about this misconception, you've got to send your GRE scores to CASPA, not to NAU, okay? Because then we get them from CASPA, all right? So if all you did was send them to NAU, you're going to be rejected because they've got to be sent there. That's been on our instructions for several years now, and you'd be surprised how many students get that wrong, even though it's in plain English right there. NAU application, so if you apply, once you do your local application, there are two applications to apply to NAU PA program, your CASPA and then your NAU app. Another one, ask me how many applicants don't do the NAU app. Around half, believe it or not. That's good for you, because out of 3,000 people who apply, about 1,500 don't do the NAU app, which means what? Automatic rejection, okay? And I'm really confounded and flabbergasted every year by how many people don't fill that out. Because it says in a million places to fill out that application. In fact, when you submit the CASPA application at the very end and you hit the submit button, there's a big giant pop-up that says, do you know that NAU has a local application you have to fill out? Here's the link. Yes, I know, click. Just making sure that you know that there is an ad. I mean, it tells you multiple times. And I'm trying, I sound funny, but that's why I'm so super, I just don't know what it is. Sometimes I think people just apply places just to apply to see where they get in, and they never bother to look at what the actual requirements are for that school. Like, okay, you don't have all the prereqs for NAU. Well, I mean, you should have known that when you applied, right? So then asking me as the director to make an exception for the 2 prereqs you're missing, I mean, of course my answer is going to be a flat no, because in your research of that already tells me you're not a serious applicant to this program, because you didn't even know what my prereqs were. Therefore, you know, what kind of commitment is that to our program? So that's not a good applicant, okay, when you don't have all the prereqs and you're asking for exceptions and things. Let's see, so unofficial transcripts. When you do that NAU application, all it requires unofficial, so you can go get them yourself, mail them in, and send them in. They'll accept them. That's just kind of to get you started. If you get accepted into our program after the interview process, then NAU will require you to send them official transcripts also. We just want to save you a little money because we know they're expensive, so that you don't have to do them for NAU. Just unofficial is fine. Those are always free at almost any institution, so it shouldn't cost you an arm and a leg. All right, here's the good stuff. What has changed? For everyone who's applying in the next cycle that starts in April, you must have these prereqs, okay? These are completely new. They didn't exist before this year, okay? They're really not that different. I mean, they're drastically different, but they shouldn't be difficult to get. If you're pre-med or following any kind of pre-PA prereqs, you should have most of these courses already anyway. So some of you may have 1 or 2 courses that are like, okay, I've got, you know, a few months here to pick these courses up. So you've got to have general biology 1 and 2. These are the introduction biology courses that every school has for a biology degree. Again, it's not rocket science, okay? So those courses exist, and they're out there. AMP, you've always required AMP. There's no change to that. So you either have to have 2 anatomy and physiology sequence, so AMP1, AMP2, or you have to have anatomy, 3 credits, and physiology, 3 credits, okay? You cannot have AMP1 and then anatomy, 3 credits. You cannot have AMP2 and then physiology, 3 credits, because what's missing? The other half of something, right? Because you only took 1 combo course, and then the other course you took full of something. So you've got like too much of something and too little of the other. So we're asking that in your sequence that you choose, that you pick one or the other. You either pick AMP1 and 2, or you pick solo anatomy followed by solo physiology. Depends on the school you're at. Most schools these days offer AMP1 and 2. Some schools offer both AMP1 and 2 and the solo courses. Just be careful if you're at one of those institutions that you pick the right sequence, because we definitely don't allow the mixing and matching. In fact, most schools don't. So you want to pay attention to that, because we want you to be fully prepared. Our anatomy and physiology courses here with the U of A are not easy. So that's why we're really strict on making sure that you have what you need, because especially our gross anatomy course is really difficult. It's the same course the med students take. So the exact same course, same exam, same everything. So we want to make sure that you're really prepared for those courses and that you have the prereqs. Microbiology is also required. That's not anything new either. What's kind of new here is that it says 3 credits, so pay attention to that. Most schools are 4-credit courses because they include the lab. So most of you are going to actually have a little more than you need. You'll have 4 credits. But we do 3 credits because that accommodates the trimester and quarter system schools, which typically only have 3 credits versus 4. So that kind of brings in all of the other students. There are not many of those schools in Arizona, but there are plenty right around us. And so we want to make sure that we accommodate as many students as possible. Chemistry, we are requiring, the difference here now is we're requiring organic, Chem 1 and Chem 2. So again, nothing really that drastic. You have to take Chem 1 and Chem 2 to take organic. Unless you're taking an organic chemistry for non-science majors, like organic chemistry for artists or something, you know, that's not going to be appropriate for PA school, right? So we want to make sure that you're taking the good hard science to prepare you for this program, to prepare you for pharmacology specifically, where some of this stuff comes into play. Preferred science courses. So here's the little nuance that's kind of similar to what we have now in terms of requiring the upper level sciences. What we found is upper level sciences were really difficult to define across institutions. So what we're saying now is we're preferring courses. So we have 13 credits that you have to have. And by credits, we mean semester credit hours. Again, for most of you in Arizona, you have nothing to worry about. If you went to a school, like say you went to Stanford, they're a trimester school. So you're going to have quarter or trimester credits. Those have to be converted using the formula down there, and then that's the real number you get, which means you need more courses to equal the 3 credits or the 4 credits. So you want to make sure that you have those available. What we've gone and done this year, and you have the packet with you, which is why it's so voluminous, what we've gone and done is that we have gone to every university, college, community college in Arizona, looked through their course catalog, scoured their courses, and seen which courses we would accept from those schools for our prereqs. So we're actually giving you a formula. We're saying, if you went to this school, these are the courses you need to have. If you took anything outside of that, you can ask us if we'll take it. We'll still answer those questions, but most likely we won't, especially if it's a recent course. Well, what if you took a course there 10, 15, 20 years ago? We didn't have access to those catalogs, okay? So it could be that we will take your course, but you'll need to ask us, and I'll tell you how to do that in just a minute. So those courses were all there. If you want to know which are the preferred courses for these 13 semester credit hours that we would like from your school, so I'm just going to use, because most of you are from ASU in here, I'll use ASU. You turn the page to the second page, so the second part on that, and you see all these course numbers and course titles. Those are the courses you can choose from, okay? So if you have any of those courses, you can use those to satisfy the 13 semester credit hours, okay? You cannot use them to satisfy also the 15 up there and the 9 up there. In other words, you can't use them twice. Any course you use towards prereqs, you can only use one time for one thing up here, okay? So most of these courses are going to be listed there. They're courses like genetics, cell biology, advanced microbiology, medical micro, virology. And we're also looking at advanced nutrition courses, so anything with a 300 or 3,000 level and above nutrition. Same thing, exercise science, exercise physiology, anything really 300 and 3,000 and above, we'll consider for the 13 credits. We're not going to say no on ecology, zoology, and botany, but they're not preferred. Okay, so if it comes a tie between you and another student to interview, and the other student has the other types of courses, and you have just nothing but botany, it may be that we go with the other student, because they may have a little bit better preparation with the courses that they've taken. So consider those. We're not going to say no automatically, but we will take the other students, which is why we use the word preferred on those. Mathematics has to be statistics, not algebra, not calculus, not physics. It's got to be stats, okay? And we take a whole lot of types of stats. And so we've gone through we've gone through the trouble of getting them all in there. So you can see all the different stats that we take from every school that you've been to, even business stats. If it's stats, we take it. If it's in the title, essentially that's what we've listed. We may have missed a couple here and there, but they should be in there. One last thing that you've got to do, after you've done all of these courses, you want to make sure that at least 9 of these credits, so the credits that we're talking about are these credits here, and these up here. In these 3 sections, at least 9 of those credits have to have been taken in the last 5 years, okay? One other common question that we get is, do you have an expiration date on your courses? Like, I took a course 15 years ago, can I use it? Absolutely. We know that other PA programs don't have that. Other PA programs require you to have everything within the last 7 years and whatnot. We don't have that policy here. Our only time frame policy is this one, 9 semester credit hours in science in the last 5 years. So make sure that you do that. Some of you may have graduated right on the border, so some of you may be like, 5 years was just now. You may actually have to go and take another course to satisfy that 5-year number. So keep that in mind because we are actually pretty strict about that. Now, these are highly recommended, not necessarily required. And so these are going to be psychology, and this could be anything. It could be general introduction, it could be abnormal psychology, child psychology, developmental, whatever you want. At least 3 semester credit hours. Any nutrition course in medical terminology, of course, will always be beneficial. So these are highly recommended, not required, and so we just listed them there because we like for students to have them. Now, say you went to a school, your course is in question, you're not sure we'll take your course or not. Don't call us, because chances are we can't answer by phone. And if you email us, we may not do that either. We may not get to it very quickly. This is the best way for you to do it. So beginning on April 1st, this website will open. Okay, right now it's closed. So if you go there right now, nothing pops up. So this website will open at that time. It will be a Google form, okay? And the form will lead you through all of the information that you need to provide. So you took a course at ASU, you want to consider for your prereq, you're going to have to fill out the form in its entirety, okay? And then once we get it, and the person that gets it is me, because this address for this Google form is mine, and then I will review the course and tell you, and get back to you and tell you if we are going to consider it or not, okay? And my decision will be final on that particular course once I get it. So that opens up April 1st. We don't have that now. Right now, you just send an email to our regular PA program website. Next year, this is the only way that we're going to address any prerequisite questions, just through this form. To kind of streamline things a little bit better for us and for you. So I've already talked a little bit about the prerequisite course lists. You have them with you there, so they should help you. These will be in full-blown fashion on the website as soon as it updates. So we're hoping that those get up very soon. This is what it looks like in particular. So you see where we have the actual courses that you take here. So this one's the one for ASU. So at ASU, general biology, we're looking for Bio 181 or Bio 281 for the first requirement. We will not take Bio 100. We will not take Bio 100M. So we actually go even a little further and tell you which courses we won't take. And the ones that you'll see typically there that say that we don't take it, those are typically for non-science majors. It's like biology for non-science majors or chemistry for non-science majors. It's not fair to take students who have not been as prepared as others have into PA school in our opinion. So you should get those that we require. This is the back sheet of that, and this is where you're going to see all the different things of the preferred additional sciences. So 13 credits should come from this particular list here. The instructions for inquiries after April 1st are at the bottom there, okay? And it tells you specifically how to follow up with that. Interviews are coming up, so we're going to do that by invitation only. We typically invite around 150 people to interview for our program, so that we accept 50, so that's like a little bit better than 50, about a 50% chance or a little bit less. Not everybody shows up for their interviews too, so if you get an interview, it's a really great thing, okay, because it means that you've gotten past a really big milestone. So if you get an interview, congrats. What happens on interviews? We're doing one-on-one interviews with the PA faculty member, and then we do a group interview session, so that's not changing. We're doing things, we ask you things about general PA professional knowledge. We ask you questions about the program itself, like do you know what NAU PA program is about? So we ask you questions about our anything that's on our website. We're also assessing your interpersonal skills that day and how you interact with us and others. And then we're also assessing your professional behavior, your demeanor, and your dress code, okay? So if you come in shorts and flip-flops to your interview, chances are you won't get into PA school, okay? If you come and you act up and you're really rude or you're just really not a nice person, you come in and the only person that you're nice to is me and maybe the faculty member you interviewed with, and you're horrible with the people you're interviewing with, and then you literally tell my staff something really not nice, they report that to us, and I can tell you there are students that do not get in because they told Kay something really rude. And again, we're not in the business of really wanting to have rude students in our program. We want students who are polite and who are going to be able to deliver good customer service when they graduate from this program. And people who are good at customer service are not rude, okay? And so that's why we're assessing that on those interview days. Most people do really well, but there are some people that do definitely not show their best self on the day of the interview. So we hope that they do. Why should you come to NAU? Why should you choose us over Midwestern or AT Still, for instance, or really any other PA program near us or in the country for that matter? Our faculty are top notch, for sure. Like I said, we've assembled a great team here at NAU. In our department, if you're interested in research articles, we have probably more research articles to our faculty's name in our department than any other program in the country. We are quite accomplished in terms of research and publication here. We have a preponderance of experience as well. Most of our faculty have been at it for years. I've been in PA education for more than 20 years, and at least 3 of our other faculty have been at it for more than 20 years as well. But we also have new people, so we're not just all old relics in the department. We also have people in our department who are brand new to education and that are somewhere in between as well. So we like that mix. It brings a really good diversity to our department. We're also all on boards on the state and national level as well, so we're also quite well known on a state and national level too. So we'd like to think that we're quite prestigious as a faculty. So that's definitely a great thing. Our student to faculty ratio is definitely low. It's below 9 to 1. So we like having that one-to-one relationship with our students. We do definitely focus on innovative teaching methods and active learning techniques. So even when we have a 3-hour lecture scheduled, we try to change it up and switch it up with group activities and games up here with medical knowledge and things like that to just kind of get people to keep interested for a 3-hour long period. So we really try with that. Student satisfaction also, our graduates are very happy with NAU for the most part, okay? So people are definitely glad that they came to this program and feel that they are very well prepared to practice when they graduate. The cost of attendance you cannot beat. And if I had to say one of the best things about NAU, if you compare us to the other private programs, even they will tell you go to NAU if you get accepted to both. And I'm not kidding, they always do that. And it's because we all know each other and we all even teach at each other's programs also. And whenever there's a student that asks them, I got into this school, your school, and also NAU, what should I do? And they just say, go to NAU, it's a lot cheaper. We are half or a third of the price of the other 2 programs because we are public. And I'm also going to go out and say that the next thing on there is the facility. The other 2 programs in Arizona do not have this building. You saw it on the tour. If you've never been here, we do tours every month, so you can see it again and again if you'd like. That's one of the reasons that I took this job is because of the amazing facility that we have. And we don't just have it, we actually also use it. So the Sim Center, the Cadaver Lab is one of the best I've seen in the country. The Sim Center on the 4th floor, also one of the best. The amount of models and gadgets we have available for students to learn with over a 12-week period in the summer is like no other. The clinical suites that we have on the 3rd floor where students learn in a real clinical environment, like if they are in a clinic. 24 of those rooms plus another 6 that we own in NAU, so we've got more than 30 rooms that are all videoed, and we can watch you doing it in there without us in there and tape it all. And I mean, it's just fascinating the type of things that we have available here, and you just cannot get that for the money that you pay at NAU. In fact, the last study that we did looking at how cost effective we were, we studied 36 programs on this side of the country, on this side of the Mississippi. We were the 2nd cheapest program on this side of the Mississippi, literally, and that is both private and public. So you're getting a really good deal by coming to NAU for sure. Our numbers of how much it costs are on our website. We're required to publish that, so you get the exact number that you're going to pay at NAU is right on our website. You can see what that tuition is per year, per semester, etc. Finally, I can say our pass rates are great. So our first-time pass rate is above 95%. National average is around 91% or so last time I checked, so we're well above that. And then our overall pass rate, meaning that maybe one student failed the first time they took it, maybe last year, they've since passed it and everyone's practicing. So We're happy to say that eventually everyone does pass and is a practicing happy PA. So 100% is definitely the number I like to quote a lot, and 95% isn't too shabby either. So we're happy to say that. There are other programs that do promote that they're 100% on both, first time test taking and second. Look into that program carefully. They're probably a program that only accepts 4.0 GPA PA students into the program, and that's why they're there. We actually work really closely with all of our students, especially those that come from disadvantaged backgrounds, and it doesn't even have to be just them. We work with every student to ensure that they're all successful and that they get to the end of the road and do graduate and complete the program. So I've said enough. I'm going to take questions at this point because I've said a lot. I had a lot to tell you, and I hope you agree. And it was all new. What do we have to ask?
I understand that students are incredibly busy during their 2 years. How many students are going to the ASAPA conference that are coming up?
You know what, I couldn't tell you. The ASAPA conference in the fall is a little bit different because it's a Saturday. So Friday and Saturday, or it's just a Saturday only, right?
Friday, Saturday.
It's Friday, Saturday. So a lot of them, if they do go, they'll go Saturday. In the spring, it's a 4-day conference, and most students will go only Friday and Saturday because that's the price. It's cheaper for students. Plus, they don't get time off Wednesday and Thursday for the conference. They only get Friday and Saturday. The program actually encourages students to attend the state conference, so we actually give them time off. So in the spring, we give them Friday off to attend so that they don't have to worry about courses. We also try and work our exams around that, so we don't want to say, oh yeah, we give Friday off, but you have a test on Monday, right? Because then no one's going to go because they're all going to be studying the whole weekend, so it's not an incentive really. So we try and make sure that we look at our exam schedule and ensure that there's not an exam that Monday following the conference so that students do feel like they can go and they can enjoy it. They can sit through sessions, they can network with other students from other programs, they can network with PAs who are practicing, they can network with board members and whatnot, and so really make a good conference out of it. So yeah, great question. We do that for the national conference as well, for the AAPA conference. This year it's in Denver, last year was in New Orleans, and we had 12 students, 15, something like that. We had quite a number go to New Orleans last year. And we gave them time off for clinical rotations, especially to go. And I think we gave them 2 or 3 days off for them to attend that and have the travel, provided that, of course, that they, on their honor, they did go to sessions and all that, and not just go to be in New Orleans. So.
I was seeing you at K a little bit before this, and we were wondering if I have a clinical internship for ASU next semester, and ASU told me that those hours of the clinical internship would count towards my direct patient care hours for this program. Is that true?
Yeah, they typically are not, okay? Because when your clinical hours are part of a required course, it's part of your coursework, and it's not considered above and beyond the call of duty. That's a course requirement. So it's like you're double dipping that. Same thing applies to, like, say you went to paramedic school and you wanted to say all the hours that you did for your studies for paramedics and EMTs could be counted as healthcare hours. We do not allow that. So we have to treat everybody pretty evenly. So chances are it won't. We have to look at it really specifically individually because it may be that you do more hours besides the ones that are required. Typically for most courses, they say, well, minimum of 5, 10 hours per week or whatever, but you end up doing 10 or 20. And so then those extra hours could be used to include that there. So yeah, I would definitely send an email so that we formally respond to that and see what all the particulars are, look at the course and whatnot. But I say in general, and most faculty feel this way, in general, if it's a part of a course requirement, it's typically not something that we would include in that 500 hours. Yeah. Any other questions?
I've taken respiratory specific science classes.
Great question.
Would that count for additional science?
Yeah, I know where that was coming from already. It depends. So look at some of those college courses that I put in the back sheet. Some of them have some respiratory courses. So typically we're going to be looking at, if we're going to consider some of those respiratory therapy courses, they're going to be the real high level ones, like the ones that are like close to graduation time, because some of those I do understand are very difficult. ABGs are never fun, and doing all these machines, and respiratory physiology is some of the hardest physiology out there. So we agree with that, but it's got to be some of the upper level courses. Like the intro courses are not acceptable, but some of the upper levels, yes. But there are not very many of those programs in Arizona, and the ones that I was able to identify, I put them in the form, so they should be there. Unless I missed them, then you know what you need to do. When the time comes, make sure I may have missed it, just send on that sheet and then we'll look at it. Mm-hmm. Great question. Any other questions? All right, well, it was great to meet everyone. If you have other questions, I'll be here for another few minutes. If you have individual questions you want to ask or other things, or just want to say hi, I'll be here for a second. We have other faculty back there as well. Oh, wait, we have the raffle. So we got door prizes. We have actually really neat door prizes. So Kate, come on up with those and we'll get those done right now. Before we go, we have other faculty back there that can answer questions as well. If you have clinical year questions about the clinical rotations, Stephanie would be a really great person to ask those questions. She's back there as well. All right. So we have how many we're doing? Okay. Steph, you want to bring those little packages up here, if you don't mind? I know. So here's, you didn't? Okay, let's bring some raffle tickets real quick. Okay, we'll get you some. No problem. We've got plenty. Sorry, the rest of you, your chances just went down. No, we've got, I think, 8 door prizes, so and they're pretty neat. It's NAU swag, but it's pretty neat swag that not too many people have.
Did we miss anybody else? Okay.
Is that
Oh, there you are. Yes. Okay.
Okay, now we're ready.
Everybody got it? Oh, you didn't get it. All right. There you go. Okay. Perfect.
I think now we're all set.
Okay, I'll hold it up here. You draw.
Okay, so the first one is 490-8573. Hey, there we go, first one. So what you get is an NAU insulated lunch, NAU PA program, insulated lunch bag, a water bottle, and an antibacterial gel. And they all say PA program. There you go. All right, next one. It's pretty needle back, so it's not very big, so it's a good size. 490-8548. There we go, back there. Congrats. GCU, was it? Right? Yeah, GCU in the house. All right, we got one. All right, next one. Ends in 547. 547. There you go. Congrats. $540. All right, Bianca. She got it.
Bianca.
Next person ends in 570. There you go. Congrats. Right here, Steph. Next prize. 568. Hey, congratulations. 543. Hey, there's the luck. The luck is right here. 543. We'll buy a lotto ticket today. And last one, 531. 531. There you go. Congratulations. All right, so now we're off. Thank you so much.